Wow, Goku, you have a remedy for everything.
That is because our country is blessed with a huge variety of living things, and our people have been making use of them for generations.
I wish more people could get your remedies.
They can, but remember, if you are involved in the use of natural resources to make products, you must have the right permit. Or you could end up in jail or face a fine of up to 10 million rand.
Wow, South African laws protects nature and culture.
Painkiller na galing sa suso, pabangong gawa sa ilang-ilang at nata de coco. Lahat ng mga produktong yan galing sa Pilipinas pero pinirata na raw ng mga dayuhan.
Mga kapuso, alam niyo bang pati likas na yaman at kaalaman pinitirata na at ang tawag dyan biopiracy. Isa ang Pilipinas sa mga biktima nito dahil sa halip na tayo ang magbenepisyo sa ating sariling tuklas at yaman, ibang bansa ang nakikinabang. Ang tanong, paano kaya ito may iwasan?
First, sir. So we're a group of AMV students from for College of Accountancy, and we would like to interview you on bioprospecting. So our first question, sir, is, sir, may we know your name first, sir?
Raydon Papa.
Yeah, yes. Thank you po, sir, Raydon Papa, sir. And first question po is, what branches of science is concerned with bioprospecting?
The most basic ones would be biology and chemistry. Depending on what aspect na yung inaaral mo. So at the start, usually, bioprospecting would be involving biologists. So depende na lang kung ano exactly yung organism na hinahanap or tina-target, whether it be plants, animals, or microorganisms, no? Depende na kung ano doon. So doon na nagfo-fall kung ang mag-aaral ay botanist, zoologist, or microbiologist. And then later on, of course, it would be the chemistry, and then later on the pharmacy people who would be acting on kung ano man yung mga nag-gather na mga living organisms para yun naman yung itetest nila or i-extractan nila ng mga compounds or kung ano.
The next question would be, sir, what are the scientific principles in these branches of science that made it possible to apply bioprospecting in real life?
Scientific principles. Well, basically, the first thing that you have to know would be the biology of the organisms, no? And then later on, ano ba yung chemical components ng mga organisms na yon, which may prove to be useful later on if it can be isolated and then maybe purified and then later on mass produced and then tested for their different properties, whether it be, let's say, for pharmaceutical purposes, di ba? So pwede may analgesic properties ba yung certain chemical composition, or can it be used as an anti-diabetic, or kung ano mang drugs na pwedeng maano ron. So yun yung basic scientific principles involved would be, una, alamin mo muna yung biology ng organism, later on yung chemistry part, and then later on yung production part ng mga chemicals concerned, and then yung testing, no? Sa simula sa mga laboratory organisms muna, and then later on maybe sa humans, ang pinaka-end goal syempre kadalasan.
Sir, can you give out at least one example of yung nagamit yung bioprospecting in our daily lives, where kung saan considered yung bioprospecting in our daily lives na hindi natin napapansin?
Well, the mere fact na halimbawa mo pagka sumakit ulo mo may ininom kang gamot, yung gamot na yon would contain compounds. Some of them may have been derived from plant or animal sources. So yun na yun, may basic application ng bioprospecting na naging useful sa tao. Okay?
Thank you po, sir. The next question would be, Do you consider the process of bioprospecting as being intrusive to the environment and its habitats? If so, what are its adverse effects to the environment?
Okay. Basically, nagkakaroon ng masamang effect ang bioprospecting kung halimbawa mo yung pag-gather ng mga sources mo ng mga compounds ay hindi dumaan sa tamang proseso. Kadalasan, nagiging crime or nagiging offense ang bioprospecting kapag halimbawa mo in many instances, no, lalo na dito sa Philippines, merong mababasa yung mga foreign scientists about a possibility na meron netong isang particular plant or animal dito or microorganism na tumutubo dito sa Philippines na pwede nila palang kuhanan ng mga chemical compounds. Tapos hindi sila dadaan sa tamang proseso. They will go here and pretend to be tourists, and then during their trip bigla na lang silang sasalok ng soil.
That's illegal, sir.
Yeah, it's illegal. And then they will bring it back to their country. They will work in the lab, and then presto, meron na silang na-discover na mikrobyo na meron palang nakaka-produce pala ng antibiotic. 'Di ba? Tapos biglang mamaya mo niyan ibebenta na nila yung product na yon sa isang drug company. Tapos wala man ng any source of any form of acknowledgement to the Philippines, or wala man lang nakuha na financial benefit ang Philippines out of that discovery. Well, in fact, if it came from the Philippines, Filipinos should benefit, no, by means of royalties, patents, mga ganun sana. Intellectual property should be considered. Pero yun, nagiging masama bigla ang bioprospecting kapag ganon. Okay, nagiging illegal.
Nangyayari po ba yan sa kasalukuyan? Talagang
Yes,
talama?
it's very rampant, no? Kasi nga it's very hard to check on yun nga, yung ano ba talaga yung ipinupunta ng iba rito, nagkukunwari, hindi nila dinedeclare kung ano ba talaga yung ginagawa nila, and then namimitas na lang ng mga tapos minsan hindi lang yung bioprospecting na yung meron silang gustong chemicals, minsan yung nagdi-discover ng new species, no, which later on pwede nilang kuhanan nga ng mga natural products. They would pretend to be going here as tourists, magpupunta sa mga bundok-bundok, tapos yung pala namimitas na ng mga and then identify na nila, and then they will describe it as a new species na tapos magugulat kayo, wala man lang any Filipino co-author. Tapos hindi sila humingi ng permits. Kasi dapat yan bago ka magko-collect, meron ka munang permits na hihingin sa mga sa DENR or sa Bureau of Fisheries. So dumadaan, nagiging illegal. And usually, na siya, nagawa na. Parang published na siya, hindi na mahahabol. No? The only way to prevent it is, okay, yung tao na to, iba-blacklist. So next time na pumunta siya sa Pilipinas, tapos magpaalam siya, puhulihin na siya. Usually, hindi naman nagpapaalam yung mga ganon, di ba? So, yun.
The last question would be, what are some as students po, kami po as students, in what way could we help in terms of bioprospecting po? Specifically, maybe that problem po of that rampant use of it.
Well, if for instance you would see nagbakasyon kayo sa, let's say, punta kayong Palawan, tapos napansin ninyo one of those members of your tour is acting parang medyo, yun nga, nagko-collect na, then pwede nyo siguro, out of curiosity lang, tanongin niyo, bakit ka nagko-collect? As far as we know, you have to have the proper permits for that. Yung mga ganong bagay. And then siguro, yun, then report it to the authorities kasi bawal yun. Ako, kung napansin nyo, minsan pag pumunta kayo sa isang lugar, like many parts of Palawan, sa airport, meron dong parang lugar kung saan nilalagay nila yung mga na-confiscate na mga shells, ganun. It's not just yung shells just because of collecting dahil for display purposes. Pero minsan nga yun nga, ginagamit nila for scientific purposes na under the table. So, bawal yun. So, yung mga ganung bagay. So, yun.
Thank you po, sir. Thank you for your time po.
Okay.
Really appreciate it. Thank you po, sir.
As an individual, my plan of action is to support our local conservation efforts. Joining cleanup campaigns, for example, helps purify our once clean water forms such as our seas and rivers. This way, we can restore them back of their crystal blue glory. Another example is the tree planting projects. Trees provide us natural resources in different forms: timber, fruits, rubber, fresh air, and many more. Unfortunately, lots of hectares of our forests have been destroyed. Joining projects like these will help its restoration. If it is too much of a workload, we can still lend a helping hand by boycotting businesses that involves animal cruelty. Such thing doesn't deserve to exist. If we do this all together, we can further preserve the wildlife and biodiversity of our country.
Social media can be one of the most powerful tools in shaping our society, but it also poses a threat if misused. So, as an individual, I plan to use this platform as a means to improve our lives. We could use this to spread knowledge about bioprospecting, its relevance to our daily life, and how we can support those who practice bioprospecting so that we can further appreciate our environment. Also, I plan to use social media to identify, correct, and suggest in forums and issues that revolve around the environment, ultimately affecting bioprospecting, its advancement, and further growth.
As a student, one way of stopping or preventing biopiracy is to be aware of the importance of bioprospecting. This awareness helps us recognize the difference between bioprospecting and biopiracy. We should be aware to not be fooled by those who do biopiracy and acknowledge properly who do bioprospecting. We should stand with those who fight against biopiracy to stop biopiracy once and for all.
As students, the first thing we need to do is to educate ourselves and learn more about bioprospecting. We think that before any action can be made, sufficient knowledge about the subject is needed. As students, we can do this by looking for past issues wherein bioprospecting was misused, and from this, learn to spot the actions of people around us on whether they are doing something wrong to the environment and act upon it. Learning more about bioprospecting also enables us to appreciate the rich biodiversity of our country and what is needed to maintain it.